There exists a kind of man who does not hunger for knowledge, nor thirst for wisdom, nor seek the guidance of those who have walked the path before him. He is not merely uninformed, for ignorance is not always a fault. Many are born into darkness, yet strive toward light. No, this man is something different. He is the unwilling learner, one who has made a quiet vow to resist understanding, to close his ears to instruction, and to shield his mind from truth. To him, wisdom is not a gift, but a burden, and a bear would be to acknowledge that he lacks something, that he is incomplete. And so, he refuses. If you attempt to teach him, you will find no eager student before you, but a wall, built high and thick, fortified by pride, arrogance, or fear. You may speak with clarity, with patience, with all the skill of the finest teacher, yet your words will find no resting place in him. He will hear only what he chooses to hear, which is little, and understand only what pleases him, which is nothing. Tell him the truth, and he will dismiss it. Offer him correction, and he will resent it. His mind is not merely idle, but stubbornly sealed, not by accident, but by choice. The greatest tragedy is not that he does not know, but that he does not wish to know. He walks through life satisfied with half-truths and comfortable lies, for to question them would demand effort, and effort is the very thing he despises. Knowledge requires humility, a willingness to admit that one does not yet understand, and this is a price he refuses to pay. He would rather be wrong in confidence than right in doubt. He would rather persist in folly than risk the humiliation of being taught. This unwillingness is not always obvious at first. He may, with a mask of an attentive listener, nodding in feigned agreement, making a show of considering your words. But watch closely, and you will see the truth in his actions, for he does not change. He does not improve. He does not take what is offered and build upon it. He remains as he was, untouched, unmoved, unchanged. For all his pretense of hearing, he has heard nothing. He listens not to learn, but to endure, waiting for the moment when the lesson ends, so he may return to the comfort of his ignorance. At times, he may even scorn those who seek knowledge, mocking them as fools for their eagerness to learn. He will call them weak for asking questions, gullible for accepting instruction. In his mind, wisdom is a trap, and to submit to it is to lose one's independence. He does not see that true strength is found in growth, that wisdom is not chains but wings. He does not realize that his defiance does not make him wise, it makes him blind. The unwilling learner is not always the uneducated man. He may hold degrees, titles, and honors. He may be skilled in certain areas, competent in his trade. But there is a difference between skill and wisdom, between knowledge and understanding. He may be an expert in his field, yet deaf to any insight beyond it. He may have studied for years, yet still refuse to acknowledge when he is wrong. He may be learned, yet never learning. To the eternal taker, people are not companions, not partners, not friends. They are resources. They do not see relationships as mutual, but as opportunities. They are blind to the suffering they cause, to the exhaustion they create. They do not believe they're doing anything wrong, for in their minds, they're only taking what is available, only accepting what is given. They do not understand that what is given freely can still be abused, that generosity can still be exploited. There is no end to their taking, no moment when they will say, "This is enough." They will not suddenly awaken to gratitude. They will not one day decide to give back. The more they are given, the more they will expect. The more they receive, the less they will appreciate it. And if ever they are refused, they will not reflect, they will not consider, they will not see their own fault. They will only resent. There is no satisfying them, for their hunger is not one of need, but of habit. Their taking is not born from hardship, but from an unwillingness to give in return. They will take all that is offered and then move on to the next. They do not build, they do not create, they do not contribute. They only consume. And no matter how much they consume, they will never be full. There are many reasons why a person may refuse to learn. Pride is chief among them. For to accept instruction is to admit that one is lacking, and to some, this is unbearable. Others are driven by fear. The fear that if they open their minds, they may discover that they have been wrong, that their foundation is not as firm as they believed. And still others are simply lazy, unwilling to do the work that learning requires. For it is far easier to remain as one is than to struggle toward improvement. Growth demands discomfort, and comfort is what they cherish most. The cost of this unwillingness is great, though he does not see it. He stumbles in the same errors, trapped in cycles of failure that wisdom could have broken. He makes poor decisions, suffering the same consequences time and time again. He blames the world, blames fate, blames others, but never himself. For if he were to admit that he was wrong, that he could have learned and chosen differently, then he would have no one left to blame but himself. And this, above all, he cannot bear. Attempting to help him is like pouring water into a broken vessel. No matter how much you give, it is never retained. You may try once, twice, 100 times, but your efforts will be in vain. A teacher can only teach the willing. A guide can only lead those who wish to follow. No force on earth can open the mind of a man who has sworn to keep it closed. If you persist in your efforts, you will find yourself drained, frustrated, exhausted. You will repeat the same lessons, offer the same advice, make the same arguments, yet nothing will change. He will nod, smile, and remain as he was. You may try kindness, patience, reasoning, yet nothing will move him, for he does not resist you. He resists truth itself. It is not cruelty to turn away from him. It is wisdom. Help is for those who seek it, knowledge for those who desire it. To waste one's strength on a man who refuses to learn is not charity. It is folly. There are others who hunger for understanding, others who will take what you offer and use it well. Give to them, teach them, guide them. Let the unwilling be as they are, for until they choose otherwise, nothing you do will change them. The perpetual victim. There are those in this world who have known true suffering, who have walked through fire and emerged scarred but standing. They have endured loss, pain, and hardship, yet they do not let these things define them. They rise, they rebuild, they move forward. But there's another kind, the one who clings to suffering as though it were a precious possession, as though to release it would be to lose a part of themselves. This is the perpetual victim, the one who does not seek healing but instead embraces their wounds, not as burdens to be cast off, but as banners to be displayed. This person does not desire solutions. They do not seek a way out of their troubles, for to do so would be to surrender the identity they have built around their pain. Instead, they gather sympathy like a miser gathers gold, hoarding it, cherishing it, needing it. They tell their story again and again, not to find resolution, but to remind the world of their suffering. To them, their misfortune is not a chapter in their life. It is the entire book. If you offer them help, they will resist. If you suggest a way forward, they will find reasons why it cannot work. If you remind them of their strength, they will insist on their weakness. Their suffering is a kind of currency, and they spend it to gain attention, pity, and excuses. They do not wish to overcome because, without their burdens, they fear they would have nothing left. Who would they be if not the one who has suffered? What would they talk about if not their pain? How could they command the concern of others if not by reminding them, constantly, of how they have been wronged? It is not that they have not suffered. Often they have. But suffering alone does not make one a victim, nor does it make victimhood a permanent state. Many have faced greater hardships and yet have refused to be defined by them. The difference is not in the pain endured, but in the response to it. Where one rises, the other clings. Where one grows, the other festers. The perpetual victim does not wish to heal, for healing would mean they must stand on their own. It is easier, far easier, to remain wounded and demand that others carry them. They will surround themselves with those who will listen, those who will console, those who will reassure them that none of their struggles are their fault. They seek not truth, but validation. They are drawn to those who will tell them what they wish to hear, that they are helpless, that they are blameless, that the world is against them, and that nothing is within their power to change. The moment someone suggests otherwise, they recoil. A friend who challenges them, who encourages them to stand, is no friend at all in their eyes. They will reject those who would see them strong and If confronted, they will not admit to their deception. They will twist the truth, find ways to justify their actions, insist that they have been wronged. They may even turn to others, painting themselves as the victim, seeking new sources of generosity where their past manipulations have failed. They are skilled at finding those with kind hearts, those who wish to help, those who believe in second chances. And once they have found such a person, the cycle begins again. They do not seek work, for effort is not their way. They do not seek solutions, for solutions would end their need for deception. They do not seek to improve their situation, for to do so would mean giving up the role they have chosen for themselves. They are not looking for a way forward. They are looking for an easier path, one paved by the generosity of others. They take advantage not only of individuals, but of systems designed to help the truly needy. They slip into charities, into aid programs, into the structures built to support the struggling. They know the right words to say, the right forms to fill, the right expressions to wear. While others fight to escape hardship, they settle into it, not as victims but as opportunists. What they do not realize is that their deception, in the end, is a prison of their own making. For while they may gain in the short term, they lose something far greater. They lose the respect of those who see through them, the trust of those they have deceived, the dignity that comes with honest labor. They believe themselves clever, yet they are bound by their own schemes, trapped in a cycle of dependence and deceit. If you continue to help them, you will find yourself drained, your kindness stretched to its limits, your patience worn thin. No amount of generosity will satisfy them, for they do not seek to be satisfied. The more you give, the more they will take. The moment you stop, they will move on, seeking another willing soul to deceive. It is not wrong to help those in need, but wisdom must accompany kindness. There is no virtue in feeding a deception, no honor in rewarding manipulation. True charity seeks to uplift, to restore, to bring about real change. But to give to one who does not truly need, to support one who refuses to stand on their own, is not charity. It is simply surrendering to a lie. The eternal taker. There are those who give and those who take, and in a world of balance, both are necessary. It is natural to receive when one is in need and to give when one is able. This is the rhythm of human relationships, the exchange that binds people together in mutual care and support. But there's a kind of person who upsets this balance, one who takes not out of need, nor out of gratitude, but out of expectation. This is the eternal taker, the one for whom generosity is not a kindness to be appreciated, but a right to be claimed. They are not content with what is freely given. If offered a little, they will ask for more. If denied, they will demand. They do not see gifts as acts of goodwill, but as obligations. In their eyes, the world exists to serve them, and those around them are nothing more than sources from which they may extract what they desire. They are skilled at making others feel guilty for not giving, at twisting kindness into duty. To them, generosity is not something to be thankful for. It is something they expect, something they believe is owed to them simply because they exist. Their taking is not always material. They take time, energy, attention, all without regard for how much it costs those around them. They will drain a person's spirit, consume their patience, leave them exhausted from the constant demands. They do not recognize limits, for to them, limits are an inconvenience. The giver's exhaustion does not concern them, for they measure relationships only by what they receive, never by what they give in return. When they ask for help, they do not ask with humility, nor with an intention to one day stand on their own. They ask as if they are entitled, as if it is the duty of others to support them. They will take from family, from friends, from strangers, never stopping to consider whether their taking comes at a cost to the one who gives. If the giver ever hesitates, they will respond with offense, as though to deny them is an act of cruelty. They do not see that the hands that give must one day rest, that even the most generous hearts can grow weary. Their relationships are built on one-sided exchanges. They are drawn to those who are generous, to those who are willing to give without expecting much in return. They know how to find those who cannot say no, those who feel compelled to help. And once they find such a person, they will take all that is offered and more. They do not consider that generosity should be met with gratitude, that a giver should not be left empty. Instead, they take as though from an endless well, never once considering that wells, too, can run dry. Should you persist in trying to help them, you will find yourself trapped in an endless cycle. They will come to you with their troubles, and you will offer advice. They will nod, agree, and return to you days later with the same troubles, unchanged, unattempted, unsolved. You will try again, thinking perhaps you did not explain well enough, perhaps they need more encouragement. Again, they will nod, they will agree, and again they will do nothing. Time after time, the pattern will repeat, and you will realize, too late, that they do not want answers. They want attention. They want pity. They want someone to confirm again and again that their struggles are not theirs to overcome, but merely theirs to endure. It is easy to mistake them for someone in need. They will weep, they will lament, they will pour out their grievances with such sincerity that you will believe, truly believe, that if only they had the right guidance, the right words, the right kind of help, they would break free. But you'll be wrong. The cage they are in is not locked. The chains they wear are not fastened. They are free to leave at any time, yet they choose to remain. For in their sorrow, they find safety. In their suffering, they find purpose. To let go would be to step into the unknown, and the unknown is far more frightening than the familiar comfort of despair. They are not without hope, but hope alone is not enough. Change must come from within, and no amount of external effort can force it upon them. Until they decide to rise, until they choose to take control of their own fate, nothing you do will make a difference. You may spend your time, your energy, your kindness on them, and it will all be wasted. You cannot carry someone who has no desire to walk. You cannot save someone who insists on drowning. They are not beyond redemption, but redemption must be chosen. There will come a time when they must decide, remain as they are or step forward into something greater. But that decision is theirs alone. No amount of encouragement, no depth of love, no force of will from another can make it for them. Until that day comes, the best thing you can do is to step away. Let them see, let them feel, let them learn that pity is no substitute for strength, that suffering is no foundation for identity. Only then, perhaps, will they understand that life is not meant to be endured but lived. The deceptive beggar. There are those in the world who are truly in need, whose hands are outstretched not in greed but in desperation, whose pleas for help are genuine cries from the depths of hardship. To such as these, kindness is not misplaced, for they do not seek to take advantage but merely to survive. But among them walks another kind, one who wears the same expression of need, who speaks with the same trembling voice, yet whose heart is not burdened by misfortune, but by deceit. This is the deceptive beggar, the one who asks not because they must, but because they can, the one who preys upon generosity, seeing kindness not as a virtue, but as a weakness to be exploited. They have learned the art of appearing helpless, of shaping their words to elicit sympathy, of knowing precisely what to say and when to say it. Their stories are well practiced, tailored to their audience, crafted not for truth, but for effectiveness. They will speak of great losses, of sudden misfortunes, of cruel circumstances that have left them with no other choice but to turn to you for aid. And yet, if you were to look deeper, if you were to trace the path they have walked, you would find not a history of misfortune, but a pattern of manipulation, a series of encounters where they have played this role time and time again. They are not ashamed of their deception, for to them it is not wrong. They do not see their actions as dishonest, but as clever. They believe themselves to be simply taking what they can, using the tools at their disposal. If others are foolish enough to give, then why should they not take? This is their reasoning, and it is one that allows them to deceive without remorse. They do not see the harm they cause, or if they do, they do not care. When given what they ask for, they are grateful, but only for a moment. The gratitude is fleeting, a performance given to secure future generosity. It is never enough, for their needs are not real. They are endless. They will return with new requests, new tales of hardship, always in need, always lacking. And the moment the well of kindness runs dry, the moment you hesitate to give again, you will see their true nature emerge. The gratitude will turn to resentment, the warmth to coldness. You will be accused of selfishness, of cruelty, of failing to understand their suffering. For them, generosity is not a gift, but an obligation, one that you are expected to fulfill without question. My friends, in this world, we are often taught that to help is a virtue, that generosity is a mark of nobility. And so it is. But wisdom must accompany kindness, for there are those whom no help can truly aid, those whose hearts are closed, whose hands are outstretched not in gratitude, but in greed. Let us, then, consider 6 such souls whom even the most charitable must be wary of. This is the man who despises knowledge, the woman who turns from instruction as though it were poison. They do not wish to grow, but to remain as they are, cloaked in comforting ignorance. Offer them wisdom, and they will scoff. Attempt to guide them, and they will resist. It is not for lack of opportunity that they remain in the dark, but by their own design. Help, in their case, is but wasted breath. There are true victims in this world, and to them, our compassion must be boundless. But beware those who cling to their misfortunes as one clings to a cherished heirloom. They do not wish to rise, but only to be pitied. They reject every solution, for their sorrow is their identity. In aiding such a one, you do not lift them, you merely sink beside them. This is not the man in honest distress, nor the woman seeking shelter from storm. No, this is the one who makes a habit of pleading, but never striving. They disguise their cunning beneath a mask of need, deceiving the generous-hearted. To give to them is not to aid, but to encourage falsehood. And what is charity if it is blind to truth? Have you met the one who is forever receiving, yet never satisfied? The more they are given, the more they demand. They do not know gratitude, for they believe all things are owed to them. Generosity does not warm their hearts. It fuels their expectation. You do not help such a soul by giving, for they will never be full. The only cure is to stop feeding their hunger. There are some who walk in darkness not by accident, but by choice. They do not stumble into evil. They embrace it. To them, kindness is weakness, correction is insult, and morality is chains. If you offer them aid, they will twist it to their own devices. And what greater tragedy is there than to strengthen the hands that delight in destruction? This is the friend who smiles as they sharpen the knife for your back, the one who takes your kindness today and scorns you tomorrow. There are those who, when helped, are softened and made grateful. And then there are those whose hearts remain stone, repaying love with betrayal. One must forgive, yes, but to extend trust again, that is not mercy, but folly. My dear listeners, understand this. It is good to help, but it is better to help wisely. Not all who ask deserve, and not all who receive will cherish. True charity seeks the good of the other, but foolish generosity feeds only the undeserving. To give without wisdom is not kindness. It is merely surrender.